Hi, this is Mrs. Rodriguez with a video on adding integers and decimals. So let's get started. The first examples we're going to look at are when we add them and they have the same signs. So whenever the integer or the decimal has the same signs, you go ahead and add both numbers together and keep sign. So what do I mean? So let's look at A. A is 5 plus 11. They're both positive, so all I need to do is add the two numbers together and I get 16. And because both numbers are positive, we keep the sign, meaning the 16 stays positive. Now if I look at B, you'll notice that now both signs are negative. Okay, so once again I add the both numbers together, so 9 plus 2, and I get 11. Because the sign is negative for both of them, because they're both negative, that means we're going to keep the sign negative. So it's going to be negative 11. For C, now we have 3.2 plus 0.5. Both decimals are positive, so once again we just add them together. So I'm going to have 3.2 plus 0.5. Remember, the key thing on decimals is that you have to make sure that the decimals are lined up together. Okay, you got to make sure that the decimals are lined up together before you start adding. And wherever the decimals are, it goes ahead and it just drops down in the same place for the answer. Okay, and now we can go ahead and add. 5 plus 2 is 7, and 3 plus 0 is 3. Both 3.2 and 0.5 are positive, so my answer is going to be positive 3.7. Okay, now for D, we have two decimals that are both negative. So once again, you just add the two decimals together and you keep the sign. Since they're both negative, I automatically know that my answer is going to be negative. Now all I have to worry about is adding them together. So I have 0.123 and I have 45.6. Now remember, we got to line up those decimals. Now 45.6, oops, I wrote that a little off. Let me go ahead and rewrite that. Doesn't have the hundredths place or the thousandths place, like 0.123. There's no number where the 2 and the 3 are, so you just add in your zeros. Okay, so it's going to be 45.600. Go ahead and add the two numbers together, and I get 3 plus 0 is 3, 2 plus 0 is 2, 6 plus 1 is 7. Remember, wherever your decimals are, not only do you line them up, but your decimal will drop down in the same place for the answer. Okay, and then 0 plus 5 is 5, and 4 plus nothing, you can put a 0 there if you want, is just 4. So we already know our answer is going to be negative because both decimals are negative and we keep the sign. That's going to be negative 45.723. And that's our answer. But what happens when the numbers don't have the same sign? So adding with opposite signs. So the way this works is you have to determine which number's bigger, and whatever number's bigger, that's the sign you use. Okay, and then you just subtract the numbers. So when the signs were the same, you added the numbers and you kept the sign. When the signs are different, then you subtract both numbers and use the sign of the bigger number. So what do I mean? Let's take a look at an example. I'm going to go ahead and change colors. For A, we have 10 plus a negative 6. 10 plus a negative 6. All right, so we subtract both numbers. So I'm going to have 10 minus 6, and I get 4. Then it says use the sign of the bigger number. So I have to look, which one's bigger, the 10 or the 6? Well, in this case, the 10 is bigger, and it's positive, so my answer is going to be a positive 4. Okay, let's look at B. Subtract both numbers. Okay, so I'm going to put the bigger number on top. 4 minus 8, that is 6. And we had to borrow, right? So our answer's 6. Now, I look and see which number in the problem's bigger. In this case, 14 is bigger than 8. 14 is negative, so that means the answer is going to be negative 6. Okay, so you subtract the two numbers, and the answer's sign is going to be whatever sign the bigger number is. For C, now we have 17.2 plus negative 25.6. You do the decimals the same way. You first subtract them, whichever number is bigger, that's the sign you're going to use. So let's figure that out first. 25.6 is bigger than 17, and it's negative, so I automatically know my answer is going to be negative. Now I just need to subtract them. 25.6 minus 17, oopsie, 17.2. Remember, you want to put the bigger number on top. You want to make sure that those decimals are lined up, and wherever the decimal is, that's where it's going to drop down in your answer. Okay? Now we just subtract. 6 minus 2 is 4. 5 minus 7, 5 is smaller than 7, so I'm going to have to borrow from that 2. The 2 becomes a 1. And the 5 becomes a 15. 15 minus 7 is 8. And 1 minus 1 is 0. So our answer we already know is going to be negative because 25 is bigger than 17 and the 25 is negative. So it's going to be a negative 8.4. Okay. And last but not least, we have D, negative 0.412 plus 0.65. So once again, we have to determine which number is bigger. So in this case, with decimals, you want to go from the 0 out and see which one has the bigger number. So we have 0 point, 0 point, so they both have zeros. The next number is a 4 for the first one, and the next number is a 6 for the second one. 6 is bigger than 4, so that means 0.65 is the bigger number. The bigger number is positive, so our answer is going to be positive. Now let's go ahead and subtract them. 0.65 is bigger, so that's going to go on top. We're going to subtract. Now remember, your decimals have to line up, so 0.412. Make sure those decimals line up. If they don't line up, you're going to have problems. Then if you have holes anywhere, for instance, the 0.65 doesn't have that third digit like the bottom decimal does, you just add a 0. Okay? And now wherever that decimal is, remember it's going to drop down, and that's where it's going to be in the answer. So let's go ahead and subtract. 0 minus 2. 0 is smaller than 2, so we have to borrow from the 5. So the 5 is going to turn into a 4, and the 0 will become a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. 4 minus 1 is 3. 6 minus 4 is 2. And 0 minus 0 is 0. So our answer is going to be a positive 0.238. All right. And as always, if you have any questions, need any more help, please come see me during office hours so I can give you the help that you need. Hope you guys are having a good day. Bye.